shit! I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up! So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up! Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jacking. Keep up! Players only. Come on, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe so bad. Look out! Second verse for the hustlers.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It is time once again to start your day with Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, morning, Moore County. Time for Truth and Freedom here at WEEB. Something you won't get or get from that bag laying at the end of your driveway here this morning. Yes, it is that time of the week, trash day in the pines. So get down there, pick that thing up, and put it where it belongs before your kids see it. You know, it's should be wrapped in brown paper rather than clear plastic. And while you're at it, get out there, take a walk, get the dog out, play some golf, get your time in outside while you can, in case you get some rain this afternoon or it gets a little hot and muggy, and enjoy your day. Sans the mask. Hey, sorry for all you maskers, but the studies, the stats, nothing supports mask wearing. Sorry. In fact, it's unhealthy for you to wear that filthy thing, especially if you don't wash it. If you don't wash that thing every day, God, stay away from me. That's awful things I see on people's faces. And, boy, if you're wearing that thing while you're driving down the road by yourself in the car, maybe you need some help. Sorry. That just makes me laugh when I see that.
All right, don't forget, of course, we're being heard and seen around the world on our live video stream. That's up and running right now at our websites at talk973.com or talk1041.com or weeb990.com. Top middle of the page is where the link's located on the mobile device. You can get it with YouTube. Don't stop now, guys. No, I want it down here. Get down to the music. There we go. All right. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? You can get it on your mobile device with YouTube. Put Mornings with the LeaderMan in the search. You can also get it with streaming apps such as TuneIn, iTunes Stream, Winamp, many others work. You just put WEEB in the search. Or you can go to our website, upper right-hand corner of every one of our pages has an icon that says On the Air Listen Live. That's in the upper right-hand corner. And click that once and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area. Like the Colonel alluded to, mostly cloudy today, high of 84. We'll see a little peaks of sun here and there. But no mention of rain. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 66. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, high of 79. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, low of 65. And for Friday, mostly cloudy with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, high of 78. Same forecast for Saturday, 75. And Sunday, same forecast and 70. Monday, we break away from the rain, and it'll be sunny, 78, 81 on Monday, and 81 on Tuesday. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are east of 1. Pressure is 29.99. Dew point 67. Humidity 90%. It's clear, 70 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right. Couple of things that irritated me since we last met. There's a list of, when the Congress came out with all this mandate about masks, It's surprising. It was not surprising, but they did have an exemption list of people who did not have to wear masks. That would be the Congress itself, the Congress staff, the White House staff, which is about 10,000 people connected to that, the courts and their staff, all the employees at Moderna, all the employees at Johnson & Johnson, which is over 60,000 people, all the employees at Pfizer and their staff, all exempt from that COVID shot.
The shot, yeah, not the masks. Right.
Right, the mandate for the shot.
Yeah. All you got to do is figure out who's not mandated for a COVID vaccine, and that gives the lie to this whole thing. And they're not insisting on vaccinations for any of the illegals that are coming across the border. They're not insisting on vaccinations for any of our foreign exchange students, foreign students that are here. That includes apparently millions of Chinese students who are over here that do not have to take the vaccine to stay here and do whatever it is they're doing. And yeah, none of the congressional members or staff have to take it. The courts, the White House staff doesn't have to get it. None of the employees at any of the big three pharmaceutical companies that produce this garbage are mandated to take it. So there you go. If that's not a big clue for you, if that doesn't open your eyes, then go back to your basement. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and also cabinet members and their immediate staff don't have to take it. They're all exempt because, let's just put it like it is, they're better than you. They're sophisticated. They don't need a shot.
Well, and then when you throw in on top of it the mask mandates, and you go to these various events where, whether it's Hollywood or whether it's a political donation thing, nobody's wearing masks, and they're not required. But, you're going to beat up some little kid in school for not wearing a mask. I don't mean physically beat up. I mean psychologically beat up and browbeat them for not wearing a mask. For the morons listening that are busily scribbling on their paper. So it's this should be an eye-opener for you. Who's required to do what and who isn't? And the who isn't portion of this thing, required to get required to wear a mask or required to get the vaccine, is an eye-opener. It's all these people who think they're special and privileged and don't answer to you for anything. So this is just sad. I'll give who's the guy that you got on at noon that took Rush Limbaugh's
Eric Erickson.
Eric Erickson. Early on he had said some, in my mind, some very foolish things about people who didn't want to get vaccinated, and now I listened to him the other day, and he kind of, he's backtracked a little bit, and I think he understands now that this is an ongoing process. We're never going to end up out of this COVID crisis garbage, and that, hey, you know what? We just need to learn to live with it and move forward and carry on as normal, because it isn't going to end. I think he finally read the tea leaves. I think he might have read the email I sent him. But some of these people are finally starting to figure this garbage out. You have NBA players that have come out, and now they've had their arms twisted to get the thing. But you've got plenty of people out there that are, and doctors and nurses too, that have finally figured out that this whole mask thing, this whole vaccination thing is just not what the Dr. Faustus and the government is trying to tell you it is.
You were talking about Eric Erickson there. Maybe if you tweak him a few more times, he'll be right for you. But no, I've had a few people call me about Eric, and nobody was trashing him, but they thought that perhaps somebody else would be better. And trust me when I tell you this, there isn't. Eric used to sub for Rush Limbaugh. So he knows what it's like to be behind the EIB mic. Now here's the problem. Rush was one of a kind, and there is no other Rush.
Yeah, that's really it, what you just said.
And when you stick another person in there and you hold them up against the hewing axe of Rush Limbaugh, you just, you're going to find the gaps in there. But you take your hewing axe. If you don't know what a hewing axe is, that's an axe used to flatten out a timber when it's being trimmed for use. But they, and one end of the hewing axe the axe handle was straight, so you could hold it up to the log and see where you needed to shave a little more. But with that said, Eric is in Atlanta, has been for years, and he, like I said, not only substituted for Rush, but he beat Rush in the ratings in Atlanta. He, like all other radio talk show hosts, you gotta listen to them and let them grow on you a little bit, and they generally will. Because you go listen to Travis and Buck Sexton, and you listen to Dan Bongino, all fine people. It's just they're boring. They literally are boring. They try to hype a simple statement, like there were 14,000 migrants, parked under a bridge, and they'll hype on that for an hour without telling you anything new. They just come at it at different angles, of attack. But it doesn't add to the programming. Eric, will give you the history lesson on stuff like that happening and where else it has happened, not only in the world but in the past. Should have heard him when he talked about slavery. He pointed out there are, I believe it's 70,000 slaves today in Africa.
There's more than that.
Maybe it was 700, 1,000. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, slavery still exists in the world today, and 1619. All this. That's a months-long PhD, master's level course on slavery, causes, effects, and all this kind of thing. Not going to address it here in 5 minutes, but the real point is that Rush Limbaugh was unique. Anybody that you picked to fill the slot wasn't going to please everybody. I have my problems with each one of them, and then I have people. Well, why didn't he get so? Why didn't he put Mark Stein in there? Well, Mark Stein doesn't have a 12-3 slot. You idiot! I mean, I had people. You should have put so and so in there, and no, the guy doesn't even have. Doesn't even do the slot. It's not live, and you're not going to.
They have a different full-time job.
Yeah, and they didn't want it. Maybe they were considered for it. I'm sure.
Mike Stein was.
Yeah, I'm sure Premier Radio would have loved to have Mark Stein do it, and he didn't do it for whatever reason. And there it is. I've listened to all three of them. I've listened to Bongino's podcast for quite a while before this all even came up, and
he's all right, but nothing. Yeah, nothing super special like Rush was.
No, that's the point. Nobody is special like Rush. So,
you just try to find the closest mix to the role that you can.
That's the way it goes. So,
And Erickson will keep adding to his talents there and come around and probably satisfy most of you. Like again, he's having to follow the shoes of Rush Limbaugh, which is an impossible task.
Well, the other thing is, every one of them gets on some jag about, the COVID and vaccines and stuff, and any one of them would be better off not going to that topic, because no matter what, you're going to tee off millions plus people, no matter which side of that you fall out on. And to be honest, I really don't care. Any radio host who, blah 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 blah, and you're stupid if you don't get, beat gone. I really don't care about some guy sitting behind the radio telling me that. And I haven't told anybody to get one or not get one. It's up to you. Get one or don't get one. I tell you, you need to do some research and start looking at stuff besides what you're hearing on this mass marketing mainstream media, because there's a lot of information out there that is just not getting disseminated to everyone, and you really need to start looking for it.
Saw an interesting experiment yesterday where it was a room, a girl was sent into a room. I believe it was at some doctor's office. And in the room, there were seats all around the four sides of the room, and people were sitting in them. And there was one seat left, which she sat in. And every now and then there you'd hear a on the speaker. And when that came along, everybody in there would stand up for about 5 seconds and then sit down. No explanation was given. And it would happen a second time. Everybody stood up and then sat down. This little girl didn't know what to do. And on the third, she stood up with them, not knowing why she's standing up. And the point of that is, you get these mainstream media nutcases, like Chuck Todd or Chump Todd and all the other crazies, sitting there hammering away on a candidate, in this case Trump, for 4 solid years, and bring on the quote experts that says he's mentally deranged. They should invoke the 25th Amendment. They should have him removed, so forth and so on. And he conspired with the Russians and did pro quo and so forth. Well, you say it enough times that person finally stands up and believes it. And that's what they did. They just snowed people into a blind comprehension of what they're saying and never ask questions, instead of listening to all sides and making an educated, informed decision. Just saying. All right, it is 7:48. Let's work a few sound bites in here. We'll start out with the best of the late night Unique Boys from last night.
After going dark for 6 hours, Facebook and Instagram are back up and running. Yeah, it was terrifying. Everyone's parents came this close to joining TikTok. A Facebook whistleblower testified for more than 3 hours in front of Congress and said some pretty damaging things. That's right, the whistleblower said Facebook has repeatedly misled the public. And that is not okay. We already have an app for misleading the public. It's called Tinder.
The rights to the Folgers, the best part of waking up jingle, recently sold at auction for more than $90,000, while the Cars for Kids jingle was taken out back and shot in the head.
Yep, failed the Colonel's test this morning. This happened last week at McDonald's in Cabot, Arkansas. A woman thought her coffee order was taking too long, so she shoved a stack of trays on the floor, flung a bunch of napkins, and knocked over a bunch of plastic table numbers. She blamed it on low sugar from diabetes.
They need to quit talking and do a little work and be a little more professional.
What's your license plate number? I'm calling for this.
I'm so sorry. I got diabetes and my blood sugar's low.
Oh, that's a good excuse, ma'am. Matter of fact, I am calling. Wow.
We're spilling over that I got diabetes and my blood sugar's low.
Well, I'm sure you couldn't understand all of that, but she blamed it on her low sugar from diabetes, or reacting like that. Yeah, tell it to the judge. And get this could only happen in America. 2 drunk idiots broke into a water park at night, shattered their ankles on a slide, and want to sue the park for not having a security guard to prevent them from breaking in.
Yeah, well, I don't know what state did that happen. Some states, yeah, they'll successfully sue. Some other places, they should just be tossed out in the parking lot.
Here is Barry Douglas and Claire Vickers during an interview on ITV show called This Morning.
There should be security there, for a start, and the fence should be secured, and there will be legal action being taken.
You're saying that if they'd fixed the fence, if they'd put security so that at their own expense, then we wouldn't have been able to go down the slide, which you shouldn't have been going down in the first place.
There's 100%.
I just think that everybody makes a mistake. Everybody has got drunk at some point in their life and made a silly choice, and that's what this was.
So, yeah, that didn't happen here in the States. I don't know what the law is wherever that was. Sounds like England or UK somewhere. But I don't know. Most places here, I never really looked at North Carolina, Virginia. If you're committing a crime, then, that pretty much excludes you from, from a lot of the ability to bring a lawsuit. Now, if you go in there, see, here's the thing: you break in there, and then the security guard, that they're complaining wasn't there. If that guy had come over and tossed them out, then they would have wanted to sue for, whatever, abuse or getting beat up by the security guard or something, excessive force. So I don't know what the hell you're supposed to tell these people. Hey, you're breaking the law. You're out of here. Get out. Frivolous lawsuit. And, oh, by the way, yeah, we'll take your money and make you pay, the damages for these people having to defend themselves against clowns like you. But, it's just, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it.
Well, many judges go by who started it law, whereas if you're the one that initiated the tire rolling, as they say, because there's the famous case, then you're the one liable. For example, you're driving along in your car, and your left front tire comes off, and it starts rolling down the street, bam, bam, hitting other cars, and them wrecking out, and then it bounces off a roof of a truck, and it jumps through a second-story window, which happened to be the operating room at a hospital where a doctor's doing heart surgery, and the doctor's hand slips and kills the patient. Who's liable for all that? The guy whose wheel came off the car.
Well, notionally, yeah, that's how it should be, but it seems to me that's not the way it always works out. The guy driving the car who may be penniless, you can't get any money from him, so now you're going to sue the hospital for not having a fence to prevent the tire from jumping through the second story window. And they just make stuff up as they go, and just spending millions and millions of dollars on dumb stuff.
That's what ambulance chasers do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hey, in my mind, the guy broke the law, and breaking into that place, boom, it's on him. Now, if they had set up, put a pack of wild dogs in there, or put up a, some kind of shotgun, so that you open the door, okay, a little different story, but it's just out of hand with a lot of these lawsuits and things.
Okay, switching gears here. Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special, The Closer, began streaming yesterday. He wasted no time getting his publicized case of coronavirus out there.
First of all, before I even start, I want to say that I'm rich and famous. And the only reason I say that is because the last 17 months were hell, and I cannot imagine what everybody went through. But I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy you're well, and I hope everyone you love is okay. I don't want you to worry about me. I'm vaccinated. I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I walk in the doctor like, give me the third best option. I'll have what the homeless people are having. And I know you probably heard on the news, I did get coronavirus. They make you quarantine. I had to quarantine for 10 days at least. They said, you're gonna have to stay in the room. I didn't go nowhere. Because the whole time when you get coronavirus, at least the first 5 days, you wait to see how sick you're gonna get. And it turns out, and this is true, I didn't get sick at all. Not a cough, not a booger, not a fever, nothing. Look at me. I am the Magic Johnson of coronavirus.
So did he actually have the coronavirus then?
Yeah. Well, he tested positive.
Yeah, he tested positive, and we've already determined that if it was the PRC test, and we've already determined that those, you take that test, and pretty much any virus you have that does anything to you will come out as a positive coronavirus test, even if it's not coronavirus specifically. So, and in your nose where they stick that thing in your sinuses, there's always a bunch of virus up there, that you've picked up from God knows how many different places, and that PRC test will determine that any one of those is the coronavirus.
Yeah, I was at my doctor's office yesterday for a routine checkup, and as the nurse came into the room and says, "Have you had the virus, the vaccine?" I said, "No, not after what I've read about it." And she says, "Well, new rule for you. You have to wear a mask coming in and a mask going out." And I thought I feel like she wanted me to start arguing with her. I said, "Okay." I said, "It's your sandbox and we play by your rules." So I pulled out my mask and put it on.
Yeah, and if they had their vaccine, you should have told them they need to put one on, because apparently the information is out there. If you've got the vaccine, you spread it around as much as anybody else, if not more so.
Well, they fall under the rules of the North Carolina AMA, and
of course the mask doesn't do anything anyway. So
yeah, jeez. I just put it on and went about my way. Let's see here. No. Looks like the new James Bond movie will finally hit theaters this week. Specifically this Friday. Remember when Daniel Craig hosted SNL and had to announce the delay due to COVID? Then when they delayed it again, well, here's the latest trailer for this.
Bond is back. Almost.
Where's 007?
No one knows for sure.
Name? Bond. James Bond.
Very well aware of who you are.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to open your stinking movie. James Bond. No Time to Die and a long time to open. If all goes well, opens Friday.
All right. I used to like the Bond movies, but they just got so long and complicated and too many lulls in there while they had to sew scripts together to make them work out. The opening scene's always the best one, where he's chasing somebody and he gets his man or woman. But I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a whirl and see it.
Well,
Let's see, our temperatures this afternoon reach the upper 70s and upper 80s. We are not tracking widespread rain to move in for today. As we head into tonight, we are likely to see a few lingering showers stick with us, but those will clear out as we head into the overnight hours. We'll dip into the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow, we have a better chance of seeing showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures heading into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills, 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. With Republicans dead set against playing any role in hiking the government's debt ceiling, Democrats are talking about changing Senate filibuster rules so they can move ahead with suspending the borrowing limit, avoiding a government default.
President Biden told reporters Tuesday evening,
I think that's a real possibility.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's frustration was evident earlier in the day.
If Republicans would just get out of the way, we could get this all done.
But Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell again pointed out that Democrats are in control.
They need to do this. They have the time to do it. And the sooner they get about it, the better.
Doing away with the filibuster rule would lower the threshold for passage from 60 votes to 50. Mike Gracia, Washington.
President Biden hits the road promoting his multi-trillion-dollar spending plan, avoiding the words spending or borrowing.
To support these investments is to create a rising America. America is moving. To oppose these investments is to be complicit in America's decline.
The president in Howell, Michigan yesterday. Biden originally proposed $3.5 trillion in spending, but given opposition from Republicans and some Democrats as well, looks like the total will be less. The Centers for Disease Control reports America's homicide rate skyrocketed 30% between 2019 and last year, the biggest increase recorded in a century. The Biden administration drawing fire from social conservatives for likening the protests of parents at school board meetings to domestic terrorism. And Attorney General Merrick Garland talking about having FBI agents investigate parents who speak out against the teaching of critical race theory and mask mandates for young children. Wall Street, Dow futures down 351 points. NASDAQ futures 191 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
Angie's List is now Angie, and caring for your home just got easier. Whether you need help with routine maintenance or a dream remodel, Angie makes it easy to see reviews, compare quotes, and connect with top local pros who can get the job done right. Plus, you can see upfront pricing and instantly book hundreds of projects. No phone tag, just the work you need done at a time that works for you. Angie's got your to-do list covered from start to finish. Book your next home project today at Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson set to address a conference of the ruling Conservative Party. The speech comes against a backdrop of post-Brexit fuel and labor shortages across England and warnings of empty store shelves over the upcoming holidays.
I think what we're going to get today is what you might call the doubling down defence of Brexit from the Prime Minister. Why do I say that? Because many people in the outside world last week, they saw what was happening in terms of continuing shortage of certain goods in certain shops and of the chaos at the petrol pumps as evidence that Brexit isn't working. Now, instead, what Mr. Johnson is going to deliver today is the sort of suggestion that actually, no, it's not that at all. What it is are teething problems for a country in transition to a sort of higher wage, as you were saying, higher skill, higher growth, low immigration economy.
That's BBC correspondent Rob Watson reporting from London. News and analysis at townhall.com. Forget to return that library book on time? No worries. Late fees and existing overdue fines out the window in New York City.
Late fees had already been suspended since March 2020 because of the pandemic. The new policy covers the New York Public Library, the Brooklyn Public Library, and the Queens Public Library. The 3 library systems join libraries in such cities as San Francisco, Chicago, and Philadelphia that no longer charge overdue fines. Officials say more than half of the New Yorkers whose library cards have been blocked for late fees live in high-needs communities. John Scott reporting.
Federal investigators say a ship's anchor may have hooked, dragged, and torn a massive underwater pipeline, spilled tens of thousands of gallons of oil into the waters off Southern California. They also say the pipeline owner did not quickly shut down operations after a safety system alerted to a possible spill. More on these stories at townhall.com.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time with Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
At Gill Security, we are often asked, how are you different from other companies? A real person answers our phone 24/7. We prefer to meet in person, ask questions, and custom design a system that meets your individual needs. Our job does not end with installation. For us, it's about developing a lifelong relationship to meet your every security need in a timely manner. To experience firsthand the difference of Gill Security, call today at 433-2868 or gillsecurity.com.
Over the past several years, WEEB has been telling you about Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services. During that time, Sherry and Howard Hoke have experienced a large increase in their business because of their beautiful paved driveways and much more. Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services offers patching, excavation, and drainage issue solutions, crack filling, seal coating, and striping for both residential and commercial. And now they have added concrete, pouring sidewalks, driveways, curbs and gutters, pads, as well as pavers. Estimates are free, and they will come to your property to assess your needs. No job is too big or too small. Go online to slcontractingllc.com or the Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services Facebook page showing photos and customer reviews. So, call 910-673-1318. Active duty military will receive a 10% discount. 910-673-1318.
Jump into the fire at Brick's Wood Fire Pizza in the Cole Shopping Center and enjoy your famous wood fire pizzas and the Brick's Wood Fire wings in several flavors. New menu items and fresh food is made daily. A fun place for family and friends. Dine in or sit on the outdoor patio. So jump into the fire at Brick's Wood Fire Pizza, Kohl's and Hobby Lobby Shopping Center in Southern Pines. Brick's Wood Fire Pizza is open every day at 11 a.m.
You can jump into the fire.
Hey folks, Celeste here from Whispering Woods Golf Club. Come on out and see what all the buzz is about here at Whispering Woods Golf Club. We have some great rates going on until the end of November, so don't miss out on your opportunity to play Ellis Maple's one-of-a-kind gem here in the Sandhills. We are also offering our lifetime memberships. Come see me to see what we can do for you. Live the dream. Play affordable golf. We are also offering to our active and retired military memberships until the end of the year. $225 a month, unlimited, all-inclusive golf, or $800 if paid in full. So come on down to Whispering Woods Golf Club, located at 26 Sandpiper Drive, Whispering Pines, or give us a call at 910-949-4653. And don't forget, book it, Dano.
Serving Moore County since 1960 and continuously owned since then by the Parker family, Aberdeen Exterminating's goal has not changed since that first day nearly 60 years ago: to provide prompt, courteous, dependable services at a fair price. Services include termite inspections and treatments, household pest control, flea and tick control, yard treatments, mosquito control, crawl space protection, new home pre-treats, real estate inspections, installing moisture barriers, bed bug treatments, and more. Pests are a part of life in the South, especially termites. That's something you can depend on, so choose a service company you can depend on. Call Aberdeen Exterminating for a free inspection. 944-2474. That's 944-2474.
Campaign for a massive social spending bill and working behind the scenes to make it smaller. CBS's Ed O'Keefe explained.
New price range just might be enough to win over West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, a key holdout.
I'm not ruling anything out, but the bottom line is I want to make sure that we're strategic.
It's unclear how the proposed Build Back Better plan could be shrunk, but a group of House Democrats told the president Tuesday they want to enact new climate change protections, paid family leave, universal pre-K, and extend child tax credits.
The General Assembly is ready to begin drawing new boundaries for the North Carolina legislature and the state's U.S. House delegation for the next decade. The House and Senate Remapping Committee leaders said Tuesday that members could begin drawing boundaries today. The Union County Public School Board of Education voted Tuesday night to keep masks optional inside schools. Parent Debbie O'Keefe told WSOC,
as parents, we are frustrated. We are scared for our kids. I know the other side thinks that we're overreacting.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is strongly defending the company he founded after stunning allegations from a former employee. In congressional testimony on Tuesday, whistleblower Frances Haugen said that the company chooses profit over public safety. CBS's Nicole Killian has more.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the accusations against his company are not true and don't make sense. And while he disputes the whistleblower's accusations, he says that he does agree Congress should update internet regulations.
Correspondent Diane King Hall reports you can't get too close to Mickey Mouse if you're going to Disney.
No hugging Mickey Mouse. Disney is bringing back indoor meet and greets with iconic characters at its theme parks for the first time since the pandemic began.
You're listening to NCI News.
The COVID pandemic unleashed a resurgence of opioid use in our state. These citizens need access to treatment. Finding a solution to close the health insurance coverage gap can give them a fresh start. Care for Carolina is committed to providing more insurance options and access to health care. Covering the uninsured means better health for all of us.
Go to care4carolina.com to find out more. That's care4carolina.com. Care for Carolina, expanding access, enhancing prosperity.
Hey, I'm Katie Webster with North Carolina Emergency Management. Severe weather can happen throughout the year in North Carolina. You can protect yourself and your loved ones by being prepared. Have a family emergency plan. Assemble an emergency kit with a 3-day supply of non-perishable food and water. Download an emergency alert app, have a weather alert radio, and listen to local weather reports. Go to readync.org for more severe weather safety tips. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Public Safety.
A North Carolina appeals court says some supporters of former Republican Governor Pat McCrory's efforts to contest the 2016 gubernatorial election results can be sued for allegedly defaming voters. The decision, announced on Tuesday, paves the way for a trial court to hear arguments of the case. Tuesday, a Missouri man believed to be intellectually disabled was executed for killing 3 workers during a convenience store robbery in 1994.
Missourians for alternatives to the death penalty say they are saddened.
Why wouldn't you cry when you've got a guy who's probably got the intellect of a 6th grader have something stuck in his arm and his life drained out of him?
That's a life, and his life matters too. And the next person that is on death row, their life matters too.
A relative of one of the victims said they are the real victims in this case. They posted on social media that their relative died a violent death.
North Carolina health officials are urging those who haven't already gotten vaccinated to do so. Dr. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, told WLOS.
Vaccines not only protect you, but when you get vaccinated, you are actually protecting the community around you.
Some K-pop superstars are bringing in bucks for the UN Children's Agency.
BTS 4-year Love Myself campaign has raised $3.6 million for UNICEF and its work to stop violence, getting the message out during a world tour through social media hashtags and swag. Last month, the band filmed a music video during the General Assembly and spoke about how they dealt with pandemic isolation and frustration during last year's virtual meeting. BTS says it hopes to keep the campaign going to help people find happiness and love. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
Our temperatures for this afternoon will reach the upper 70s and upper 80s. We are likely to see a few scattered showers around. It's not going to be widespread by any means. Overnight, we could see a few lingering showers that will clear out. Temperatures will dip into the mid to upper 60s. Highs will reach the upper 70s and lower 80s by the afternoon with a better chance of rain. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Right now, here in the Sand Hills area, sunny and 70 degrees, humidity 90%, dew point 66, solar radiation 51 watts per square meter, pressure is 30.01, and winds are east of 1. It's 8:14. Let's take a look at your Sand Hills news for this Wednesday morning. A Fort Bragg soldier was killed when 4 were injured during an accident involving a military vehicle on Butner Road at approximately 12:50 in the afternoon on Monday. Colonel Joe Bacino, Fort Bragg spokesman, said that it was a tough day here on Fort Bragg. It was a tough day for us all. Our immediate thoughts right now are on the family, the men and women of the 16th Military Police Brigade, and the injured soldiers. Anytime you lose a soldier on post in a situation outside of combat, it hurts. It's a tragic loss. There will be a time for investigating and the cause of the nature of the accident, but right now we're focusing our attention on the troops and families. The names are being withheld pending notification of next of kin. That's your latest Sand Hills news this morning from the Sand Hills Sentinel, and of course you can go online to sandhillssentinel.com for more information. It is 8:16. Sports is next right here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. It is 8:17.
Your morning sports report is brought to you by Hughes Supply of Pinehurst. With over 50 years experience, Hughes Supply can handle all your plumbing project needs from start to finish. Call 910-295-5541 or visit them online at HughesSupplyPinehurst.com.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. We start with Major League Baseball and last night's American League wild card game.
The Red Sox are moving on after a wild 6-2 win over the rival Yankees in the American League wild card game. Xander Bogaerts hit a first-inning 2-run homer to set the tone for the Red Sox in their first ever wild card game.
You got to enjoy the moment. This was definitely a really, really tough game, 1 and out. I never played in any game like this.
Kyle Schwarber added a solo shot, and Nathan Eovaldi pitched 5 in the third innings of 1-run ball. Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton clubbed solo homers for the Yankees, while starter Garrett Cole gave up 3 runs in 2+ innings.
There's really nothing that you can do to make it feel any better. You can't be afraid of this feeling.
Boston will face Tampa Bay in the ALDS. Gethin Coolbaugh, Boston.
And Tampa Bay lefty Shane McClanahan will start Game 1 of the ALDS against the Red Sox tomorrow night at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Red Sox manager Alex Cora has not said who will start for Boston after last night's wild card game. After the NBA now, where Kyrie Irving did not practice with the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday, again remaining away from the team amid questions about his availability to play in New York because of the city's COVID vaccines. Coach Steve Nash had no further update on the status of his All-Star guard, but said the team supports him. Irving hasn't said if he's been vaccinated against the virus. He's asking for privacy when pressed about his status. The Carolina Hurricanes on the ice last night for more exhibition action, this time taking on the Nashville Predators in Raleigh at PNC Arena. The Hurricanes absorbing a 3-2 loss in overtime. Their final preseason game is on Saturday. That will also be played against Nashville. They will open the regular season on October 14th at home against the New York Islanders. This is NCN Sports.
The Roval is not your average racetrack, and this is not your average race. This is a hair-raising, gut-wrenching, twisted and turning, bumping and banging playoff race. This is hundreds of miles of wild racing through thousands of turns. This is a race to the checkered flag and a race to advance to the next round.
Truex gets hit by Johnson.
Will your driver make it? Be there to find out. The Bank of America Roval 400, Sunday, October 10th. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com.
We really are worried that this Delta variant is going to find everyone who's not protected.
The fact that this is more infectious, causing worse outcomes, and spreading like wildfire in the United States, I don't believe this is a wait-and-see period. It's a time to really roll those sleeves up and get those shots.
There are more people dying this week than there was last week. Our rates of hospitalizations are going up. The people that are losing their lives are the people that are unvaccinated.
Visit myspot.nc.gov today. A message from NCDHHS.
The Kansas City Chiefs are adding wide receiver Josh Gordon to their 53-man roster and they expect him to play in Sunday night's AFC title game rematch against the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs signed Gordon to the practice squad last week with the assumption that he would join the active roster when he learned enough of the playbook. He has just been reinstated by the NFL following a 6th suspension for violation of league policies. The NCAA Division I Council has approved a one-year waiver that would allow football teams to sign up to 7 players to replace those that leave the program. The move is intended to address a growing number of transfers. More players are switching teams, and a bonus year of eligibility was granted to athletes who competed during the pandemic last year. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
We're proud to be working with our local businesses for the greatest comeback of all time.
Come together.
With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
When it comes to Medicare, choose hometown coverage created by hometown people. First Medicare Direct offers comprehensive plans for as low as $0 a month and includes extras like dental, vision, hearing, prescription benefits, and more. Plus, when you have questions, you never need to go far. We have a local office in Pinehurst. Compare plans at firstmedicare.com/FMD22 or visit our local office to learn more. First Carolina Care Insurance Company is a health plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in First Carolina Care depends on contract renewal.
Hi, this is Rodney Swarms with Plumbing Night. We know that plumbing emergencies can happen at any time. In fact, they seem to happen at the most inconvenient times. And then inviting an unknown plumber into your home, that can add to the stress of the situation. The Plumbing Night wants to alleviate any stress about inviting a technician into your home by guaranteeing that we have not only the very best plumbers, but also the most knowledgeable plumbers. Before any of our employees are hired, all of the employees must undergo drug testing and a thorough background check. If they don't pass, they aren't hired. No exceptions. Once they're hired and part of the team, they receive continuous technical and customer training to ensure that they are the very best at their trade. This training is week after week, month after month, year after year. This training is what got us into community college to teach the plumbing trade. So the next time you have an emergency, call the Plumbing Night. They're known for extraordinary service and integrity.
Call the Plumbing Night at 639-5555, day or night, or on the web at theplumbingnight.com. War Dogs Army Surplus is Moore County's largest selection of Army surplus. They buy, sell, and trade Army surplus, and they'll match any legitimate offer from competitors with a price match guarantee. They'll match and beat any competitor's price by 10%. With the largest selection of vintage and modern gear and collectibles, War Dogs has everything you're looking for. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. 675 Southwest Broad Street in Southern Pines, or call 910-920-7749. That's 910-920-7749. War Dogs. We offer more and sell for less. Hey, this is Steve Leader Adams. You know, for many years I've had arthritis in my right shoulder. I was at the point that surgery was the only option. Then I discovered pressure wave therapy, available at Wright Chiropractic in Seven Lakes. Pressure wave therapy is a machine that concentrates pulses of pressure waves into your joint at a rate of 2,000 pulses per minute. The treatment is non-invasive and there is no downtime. Pressure waves help your body restore blood flow to your damaged joints and can even remove bone spurs, and works on almost any joint in the body, including knees, hips, feet, and elbows. I've gone to only being able to raise my arms from 90 degrees to a full 360-degree motion. You can live pain-free too, without going under a surgeon's knife. Give Dr. Sharon Wright a call at Wright Chiropractic in Seven Lakes. 910-673-2225. That's 910-673-2225.
First Health Fitness has won Best of the Pines Best Gym for the 6th year in a row, and boy, are we celebrating. For the month of October at any of our 6 locations, get 1 month free with a 6 to 12-month contract. Work out in 63,000 square feet of state-of-the-art equipment in a medically based gym with college-educated trainers. Come in for a tour today at 170 Memorial Drive in Pinehurst, or call 910-715-1800. That's 715-1800. First Health Fitness. Belong to more than just a gym.
Carolina Air Comfort and Safety, because we care. Clean, professional heating and cooling. Carolina Air, the friendly guys. Service, installation, and regular maintenance. Unbeatable, dependable every time. So CarolinaAir.com. Carolina Air Comfort and Safety, because we care.
Fall is here, and Carolina Air wants to remind you that now's the best time to tune up your system before the chilly days of winter arrive. Have the peace of mind knowing that your system will hold up when the temperatures go down. Right now, take advantage of Carolina Air's $49 fall tune-up special and get 10% off their indoor air quality products. Get started today. Call 910-684-3864 or visit CarolinaAir.com.
Carolina Air, comfort and safety, because we care.
Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking?
Tina's Breakfast and More on Highway 5 in Aberdeen has the best breakfast at the best price in Moore County. 2 eggs, sausage or bacon, grits or hash browns, biscuits or toast, just $6. And Thursday and Friday, just $5. Tina serves the lunch with more sandwich options and daily plate specials. Tina's Breakfast and More, next to the bowling alley on Highway 5 in Aberdeen. Open 6 days a week from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday is closed. Try it once, and you'll be back again.
Days are getting cooler, leaves are changing colors, and pumpkin lattes are beckoning us at every corner. It's fall, y'all, making it the perfect time to get ready for the holiday season. And Aberdeen Carpet has got you covered with the beautiful sale from Shaw. Spruce up your home and save up to $1,000 on select Shaw flooring now through November 15th. Whatever it is you're looking for, Shaw Floors has it. Hurry into Aberdeen Carpet today, located on Highway 5 in Aberdeen, near Habitat for Humanity. Open 9 to 4 Monday through Friday and 9 to 2 on Saturday. Visit us online at aberdeencarpet.com or call 910-944-6204 to schedule your free estimate.
Thanks for help bringing the economy back. One local purchase at a time.
Kind of uplifts you and you feel better.
It's the greatest comeback of all time. With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is proudly sponsored by Moore County Citizens for Freedom. Always looking out for you.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. Bob Grimacy, the superintendent of Moore County Schools, and Libby Carter, the chairperson of the Moore County School Board, have done a horrible job of educating our kids. There's been nothing but turmoil since Grimacy arrived, and at one point he was fired, then he was rehired. As a result of their complete ineptness, parents have gotten involved. They've peacefully assembled and they've peacefully stated their views on all kinds of subjects, including the fact that half our kids are not performing to grade level in math or reading according to their own statistics. Carter's done her best to shut these parents down. At every turn, she's come up with something to try to keep them from speaking. Now she's got help. The man who sits in the seat where the president's supposed to sit has directed the FBI to keep an eye on these parents, and it's working. Parents are afraid. It's the FBI. Grimacy, you and Carter should be loudly denouncing this move. We've got local law enforcement here for that. They do a great job. Your fake threats against board members are working. But I'll tell you this, you better have one heck of a threat to produce when this investigation's complete. You two are the threat. You're a threat to the First Amendment, and you're a threat to the emotional and educational welfare of our children. Grimacy, you're a conniving coward who hides behind your underlings. I told you once I'm coming for you, Bob. Legally, according to all laws, and in complete compliance with the United States Constitution and all laws. Hope everyone has a good day. From the Zumwalt Zone.
We're going to see our temperatures this afternoon reach the upper 70s and upper 80s. We are not tracking widespread rain to move in for today. As we head into tonight, we are likely to see a few lingering showers stick with us, but those will clear out as we head into the overnight hours. We'll dip into the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow, we have a better chance of seeing showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures heading into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Meteorologist Peter Sherwood in Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Well, look who's here.
Happy Wednesday. It's hump day.
Welcome to the show. Why don't you talk into the microphone?
I don't know.
How hard is it to talk into a microphone?
Yeah, I got a backup mic right here.
We have a show today.
Why don't we kick it up a notch?
That's what we're going to do.
Now we begin.
All right, kids.
Yes! It's just about to get twisted.
Showtime.
That girl. Oh, I'm gonna make her mine if it takes all night. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? That girl. I'm gonna make her mine if it takes all night. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Good evening, sweet darling. May I ask your name? You seem to be lonely. Well, don't worry, I'm feeling the same. Oh, it's a groovy situation, a splendid combination that we should meet at a time like this. Oh, it's a groovy situation, a splendid combination. You're something that I just can't miss. That girl.
Good morning. Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sandhills. It's time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, morning, Moore County. Time once again for Truth and Freedom here. The fresh air of Truth and Freedom here at WEEB, something you don't get at any other outlet here in Moore County. Especially from that bag laying at the end of your driveway this morning. So, hey, you want to sit down, pull up to your kitchen table, grab your apple fritter and a large cup of coffee, because John Zumwalt's here, and he's got a guest that you want to hear from.
Don't forget, of course, we are being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream. That's up and running right now at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Just go to the top middle of our page at our website, and the link is there for the video. Or you can get it by going to YouTube and put Mornings with the LeaderMan in the search. If you're on a mobile device, you can get to it by our audio stream by itself by using the streaming app. Just put WEEB in the search, or actually Mornings with the LeaderMan in the YouTube search. If you're looking for just the audio, you get it with any streaming app. TuneIn, iTunes Streamer will do it, and you put WEEB into that search. Now, if you are on the web and come to our website, you can get our audio stream simply by going to the upper right-hand corner of any of our web pages and click on the Listen Live tab. Click it once and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sandhills area, mostly cloudy with a high of 84. Tonight, more clouds, a low of 66. No mention of rain until we get to tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, scattered showers, 40% chance of isolated thunderstorms, high of 79. Same for Thursday night with a low of 65. And Friday, mostly cloudy, still a chance of showers and thunderstorms. 50-50 shot of getting wet with a high of 78. Right now around the Sandhills, winds are east at 1, pressure 30.01, solar radiation 51 watts per square meter, dew point 66, humidity 90%, is sunny and 70 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is Wednesday, time for an extended Zumwalt zone. In the studio is our good buddy John Zumwalt. John, you got a special guest.
Good morning, everyone. Today we've got former Congressman Mark Walker. He's running for the Senate seat that's been vacated by Richard Burr. We know that we need to have a good, solid, strong conservative in that seat. We're always happy when a national figure can drop by Moore County and visit with us. And, of course, he's going to be at the marketplace after this and at the women's luncheon, Republican women's luncheon. So he's going to have a busy day, and we're always delighted to have folks who care enough about Moore County to actually come here and visit with us. Good morning, Congressman Walker.
Good morning, John. We're glad to be here. We're impressed. Now, we didn't know that there was traffic jams actually in Moore County, but we're learning that as well. But we're delighted to be here today.
Only once a day on the jams.
Is that what it is? All right.
Well, wait till you get back to D.C.
Exactly.
Okay. I'd like you to take a second, but just a second, if you would, Congressman, because I've got a lot of different areas I want to cover, to tell us about your background, what you did, your family.
Sure. I grew up in a Baptist minister's home, oldest of 3 brothers. We either grew up at church or on the ball field most of the time. Moved to North Carolina, Winston-Salem in 1991. My family, my dad had moved us to Houston, Texas, where he was pastoring. I didn't much care for Houston, Texas, especially in August. But we took off. I took off, arrived in Winston-Salem, and 1991, worked in business and finance, got married early on there, spent about 5 or 6 years, and then I did something I swore I would never do, and that would be to follow my dad's footsteps as a pastor. So went back to school, spent 16 years as a pastor, and about 7.5 years ago, maybe 8 now, I just began to grow more and more concerned about the direction of our country. I stepped away from being a pastor without any kind of connections in Raleigh or Washington, D.C., and certainly not any money. We jumped out there, launched out there, and ran for the U.S. Congress. We were able to beat the establishment as well as the left, and served the last 6 years in the U.S. House.
Well, you know, Congressman, we always try to tie our interviews here into local politics. I try to fix it so that people know how your campaign or the things that you believe in, the things you will do, will help us.
Sure.
We, as I said a little bit, more than ever, we know, and by the way, the folks here in Moore County, especially the listeners to this station, are very politically aware, and they it's pretty hard to fool them. We know that we need true, locked-in, steely-eyed, diamond-spined conservatives in that seat right now. It's probably the most important seat in the United States that's being run for.
Right.
Democrats are killing us. They're tearing us apart. They're tearing our nation apart. First question to you. We have a very active group of mothers and fathers in this county, and they are very active in speaking to the school board. School boards, now, I'm not asking you to comment on the school board's actions because you could not know, but the school board is, we believe, done a whole lot to block our First Amendment rights. And now the FBI is threatening parents who speak out. I'd like to get your opinion on that and what you would do and how, if you would support that.
Yeah, I didn't realize how corrupt some of these agencies were in D.C. until I arrived. And I think one of the great things about President Trump is just the way that he exposed some of these agencies. When it comes to education, this separates, you talked about strong conservatives versus some of the rhinos that we've seen, and I'll give you a couple examples of that and get to the heart of your question. Recently, I became the only Senate candidate willing to go public to call out both senators for voting for this fake sham infrastructure bill. Now, before they voted for it, I tried to get the other 2 guys to join me to be able to block or at least encourage Senator Burr and Senator Tillis not to vote for this sham infrastructure bill. So I certainly understand what it means to get up there and speak out even when it costs you something. That's one of the reasons that I'm the only candidate that's running that doesn't have all these D.C. PAC money connections, and we can get into that later. On the heart of the education, I remember getting a bill called the A+ Act to the floor that deals directly with what you're talking about, where it would have allowed more power, more authorities, more decision-making on the funds on the state and the local school boards. I finally got it to the floor, and my own Republican House chairman voted against it along with members of their committee. We had 239 Republicans in the House that day. Only 191 of the Republicans voted for this piece of legislation you could up called the A+ Act. But that would have stopped some of that and would have empowered our local school boards as well as the people and the parents that are challenging. That's the problem with D.C. The bureaucracy, they like to keep the power there. If you look back specifically on the left, even the COVID, anything that they'd move, you can always trace it back to garnering more power. I will continue to stand. I have done so locally, and will continue to stand with parents pushing back on the DOJ on this matter.
I kind of got a little follow-up on that. I never thought 10, 15 years ago that we would ever talk about something like this as seriously as we are now. Our First Amendment rights are being slowly eroded. Do you see that? Do you see that? And are you ready to go to war for us?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about it, John, is that we have a record. Not only do we check all the boxes, 100% conservative score with Heritage Action. We would be rated the #1 America First pro-Trump conservative. You can look that up at Project 4038. We'd be 2 points higher than Ted Cruz. But when you go to war up there, and when you're willing to fight, not only is there a price, but you have to be strategic. It's no longer just to being able to vote like a Republican. You have to be willing to grab the bull by the horns, because you have all these pitfalls, and if you just sit on the back row and push even the conservative button, it's no longer enough. There's a verse in the Bible that says, harmless as doves and wise as serpents. Have that inverted, but the same point here is that you've got to be strategic in beating Nancy Pelosi in these folks, and that is our record. That's why we were able to work with President Trump, advised President Pence. I led the House in repealing the mandates of Obamacare. I led the House in defunding Planned Parenthood. I've looked James Comey in the eye, went after him, went after Cecile Richards. In fact, the reason that I'm the only candidate that has sheriffs to endorse them, double digits now across the state. Both my other two opponents have 0 sheriff endorsements. The reason why we're double digits is because we were unafraid to go after Barack Obama's assistant attorney general when he was targeting one of our local sheriffs, Alamance County, Terry Johnson. We went after him, and the way we did it, we exposed him on national television while he was under oath, this assistant attorney general, and within weeks, our sheriff was able to get his COPS grant money back returned to him. And that's one of the reasons when you talk about going and fighting, it's not just about how you vote, even though that's a foundational piece, but how do you go up there and fight? Not only fight, but how do you fight and win?
Well, that's what we're looking for, Congressman. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking for fighters, and let me remind everyone that we're speaking now with former Congressman Mark Walker, who's running for which Senate seat is that?
It's a U.S. Senate seat for the replacement of Richard Burr, who's retiring.
Yeah. And we would also like to remind you that about 10 minutes after 9 or 9:15 or so, he'll be at the marketplace, and he'll be there to shake your hand. You can drink a free cup of coffee. It's on me. And we'll have a question and answer period afterwards. And I hope you'll come see him. It's not a $1,000 a plate thing. It's one of the few times you can get together and ask a man or a woman that's running for office anything you want. Congressman, one of the candidates for Virginia governor, I know that you know who he is. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to give him the airtime, said this: parents should not have a say in what their children are taught. We are fighting, and we're doing a pretty good job. We've got some great school board members elected last time, and we've got a ways to go. But the critical race theory is something we are fighting. We are fighting. We are fighting. We can't seem to get it squashed and killed all the way. I'd like to hear your views on critical race theory.
Yeah, I unashamedly talk about race, and specifically in this arena. I think Republicans have run from this because of the concern about being called the different names, the bigot, the racist. But I think this is an area where we can win, and it's one of the areas that I've concentrated on. I'm going to get to the heart of your question, but let me drop 2 pieces of information here. Last year in the United States Congress, I was the only Republican member to win the United Negro College President's Award, and I'm the only elected Republican at any level in North Carolina to give the commencement address at one of our historical black colleges and universities. You say, why is that important? Well, here's why. The Democrats are scared to death that conservatives are going to make progress in these minority communities. Because when we're able to get in there and build the relationships and share the truth, you're putting the Democrats on the ledge. And here's why. They have the oppressed communities that have been under Democratic rule. You get in there, you talk about individualism, conservatism, and opportunity and prosperity. What happens is that the Democrats begin to lose their base. Only about 1/3 of Caucasians now vote Democrat. So, and that's not nothing controversial. I'm just telling you the facts here. So when it comes to things like critical race theory, when the government is trying to create the division to be able to teach our children that you can base decision making based on the color of your skin, or that you have an inherently evil racist bone in your body just because you're born into a certain race. Not only is that heresy, to me that's anti-gospel, and as a pastor for 16 years, I think that's one of the things that keeps our country divided. Now, you have to understand this is intentional, because the more the left can create division, the more they can keep divided. What happens is, the thing that scares the left the most is when you have people come together, specifically, and this is the genius of our founding fathers, it reduces the power of the bureaucracies from the state and the federal government. So what the left's goal here is, you can keep division, then you retain more power, you retain more control. And every decision that you look at coming from the left, it's always to create division for the ultimate purpose of maintaining power and control. So when it comes to the heart of critical race theory, obviously we're out there on the front lines fighting it. I had a chance to serve on the education committee, even there in D.C., and you've got some people up there fighting it as well.
Well, in the Fort Bragg area, and being a retired Army guy, I would be in a lot of trouble if I didn't ask you this question, and I would be in trouble with myself as well. Are you as inflamed, are you as angry, are you as hurt, surprised, and all as I am and the rest of us are, that we would ever in a million years leave Americans behind in a war-torn country, a country that hates us? What do you have to say about that, Congressman?
I'll tell you what, that's an area that where you ought to have some emotions with it, John, and I can hear it in your voice. I think of two things. I think of what Hillary Clinton did with the Benghazi situation, and now I think of the Joe Biden situation here in Afghanistan. This is a mark that doesn't go away, and it shouldn't. Now, Joe Biden doesn't make a lot of his own decisions. I can tell you, he's very influenced by Susan Rice and some of these other clowns they have around him. But this was one that they brought to him because of the urgency. You had the intel, you had boots on the ground, and you even have the Foreign Affairs Committee, which had both Republicans and Democrats, who all told this administration, specifically Joe Biden, that if you do it the way you want to do it, you're going to create a vacuum, and this is the problem. It could even cost American lives. He did it himself anyway. He ought to be run out of town at this point if he doesn't have the character to resign. But yes, this is something that's going to last, and I think it's going to create independents and hopefully some Democrats to take a second look at the level of incompetency and say we've had enough already.
You know, if someone wrote a check to our nation tomorrow for, I don't know the exact amount, $20-something trillion,
yes,
and gave it to us, we would then be able to tell everyone, well, good news, we're now broke. We now have no money as opposed to being that much in debt. Now we're going to add trillions more to it, and they're telling us that this won't cost us a nickel. What would you do if you reached the Senate? How would you fight this?
Well, I'm going to carry on what I've done in the past. I am the last member of the U.S. House of Representatives to force a vote on a balanced budget amendment on the House floor. I'm a fiscal hawk. When I got to Congress, I became the first member in history to ever be voted in as chair of the largest caucus, the Republican Study Committee, formerly chaired by Mike Pence and Jim Jordan. And I think it's important that here's why. A lot of times we just look at the present contents or the present text. What we're doing to the American dream for our children and grandchildren is a disgrace. In fact, it's sinful in the context that we are contracting it because of the tax burden that we are leading. Social Security is not even going to be solvent in 8 years, and yet we continue to spend. That's one of the reasons that I voted against the spending bills. That's the reasons that I voted against the omnibus, is because it's a quick fix on the backs of our children and grandchildren, and the amount of debt that we've done, that Congress has done. Let me tell you, Republicans and Democrats, spending 6 years up there, John, I can tell you the swamp is as deep on the Republican side as it is the Democrat side many times, specifically in the areas of spending. And I hope that North Carolinians as well as Americans will hold even their own Republicans accountable when it comes to voting for these kinds of things.
Well, I'm very glad to hear you mention that you recognize that the Republican swamp is deep as well. We're talking with former Congressman Mark Walker. I'd like to remind everyone that he will be at the marketplace about 9:15. I hope you'll throw on a pair of jeans and t-shirt. You don't have to get dressed up. Come meet him, shake his hand. He's a very nice guy, and he'll talk to you. And you can ask him whatever questions you'd like to ask him. Some of you are sitting there right now griping. Ask him this, ask him that. Well, you'll have a chance, and I hope you come to the marketplace and express your views. Congressman, the biggest thing I think that a lot of us worry about, I think that we believe we've got the conservative vote, but we're terrified of voter fraud. How in the world are we ever going to get another fair election? What are your views on that?
Great question. Last 2 years in Congress, I was ranking member on intelligence and counterterrorism for a Homeland Security subcommittee. So a lot of things I did, a lot of the border issues. I was there at the Rio Grande Valley, monitored China, some of their cyber attacking, 15 to 20,000 times per day they hit us. Specifically on voter integrity, here's what I began to discover is George Soros and groups like him, but primarily George Soros, after the 2016 election, when Hillary Clinton was, they were all surprised the champagne was on ice and they just couldn't believe that their champion had lost. Soros and some of the guys began to change their lobbying efforts to where they were spending money primarily on D.C. legislators. They began to change and go after state legislators. You say, what does that matter? Well, here's what happened, is that kind of lobbying influence literally changes the way some of our election laws began to be written after 2016. And you lay COVID on top of it, and it fast-tracked things like mass mailing of ballots. Because here's what Soros figured out in the deviant mindset that some of these leftists have, is they knew that it would be almost impossible for you to monitor or for you to find out who was filling out the ballots, who was collecting the ballots, and even who was mailing the ballots back in. So we got beat, if you will, by I hate to call it strategy. I think it's more deviant behavior. And what has had to happen is that the state legislatures must tighten down the election law where voter fraud is not the leading topic, but almost impossible. And here's why you have to be careful. And this has to do a little bit of the January 6th in aftermath. When Nancy Pelosi used that to introduce H.R. 1, which became S.R. 1, what she tried to do was to make an in-run on these state legislatures where D.C. politicians, the bureaucracies, would then make all the rules for how we run our elections. That is, you want to talk about America going over the cliff in a handbasket, right? We have to make sure that North Carolina sets its own election laws. We can never turn that over to Pelosi or to the federal bureaucracies, whether that's here in North Carolina, Virginia, whatever state it might be. Now, I'll wrap this up. There's about 15 to 20 different good pieces of legislation in Raleigh that needs to get passed that tightens it down, everything from voter ID to reducing the amount of days that you can just come in and out and vote. We need to get that tighter as well. Those are the kinds of things, but it needs to happen on the state legislature, not the federal side, in my opinion.
All right, I just got a text asking me to repeat who I'm talking to. They just tuned in. So we're talking to former Congressman Mark Walker. He's running for the U.S. Senate. And he'll be at the marketplace in about 20 minutes, and I hope you'll come see him there. Congressman, yes. Our border, under President Trump, we had a great border. Things were looking good. It's gone from a crisis now to a full-on invasion, a literal invasion of tens of thousands of people. What do we do?
I remember my first time going to the Rio Grande Valley, talking with the border agents, and in the corner of the room I see this whiteboard. And I go over there, and there are 69 different countries listed: Yemen, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Syria. And I asked the border agent director, I said, what in the world are these countries? And he said, Congressman, he said, we keep a list of the countries when we capture or grab people coming across the border. We find out their country of origin, we list it on the board. Now, this week, we find out that 69 number is now increased to 150 different countries. We have a huge security issue. The drugs, the human trafficking, who knows who and what's coming at the border. The only way to do this is to continue to make sure we complete the wall that President Trump started. But we've also got to make sure, probably the thing that I'm most angry and emotional about, as a pastor, I've done the mission trips, I've worked in the refugee camps, I've certainly spent time at the border, as we just discussed. But for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to give a green light to these migrants that are trying to make it across. Look, I did a press conference with a bunch of sheriffs the other day. The drug cartels control the entire southern border. So you don't come from anywhere from making a deal with the drug cartels. Between northern Mexico and Syria, it's the two most deadly places in the country. I won't get into the graphic nature of the rape trees and everything else, but the thing that these children have to go through and families to cross this area, the Biden administration has the same intelligence that I've seen as ranking member on Intelligence and Counterterrorism Subcommittee. They've seen all of it. And for them to still give the green light, I hope enough American people will see the atrocity this is. We've got to get that border secure. We've got to finish the wall. We've got to make sure that we're empowering our agents to do their job, not ridicule them.
When we talk about security in the United States, we know that Biden has totally ruined our reputation around the world. We're a laughingstock militarily. Yes. I want to talk about Taiwan for just a minute. Mm-hmm. They've flown 145 jets. China has flown 145 jets for the last 4 days. It's the most they've ever flown, the most incursions. Biden talked to the president of China, and he came back, Biden did, and he sounded a lot like Chamberlain. He said, we made it clear that I don't think he should be doing anything other than abiding by the agreement we have. Now, that's our big assurance from our president. We are at risk of war with China. I don't want to scare anybody and make them think we've got people lined up ready to drop in. But it seems like since he took over, all of our peace we had with North Korea, now China, and of course Mexico and all, it's just fallen away. What do you have any feelings about Taiwan and what we should be telling those people?
Yeah, I think Taiwan is certainly very concerned, and they should be after they watched this administration handle the Afghanistan situation. It's very concerning. China cyber attacks us 15 to 20,000 times per day, and the problem is, you've got not one or two, you've got 5 Bidens who have taken millions of dollars from China. They've been compromised. I think it's one of the reasons that President Biden should not be in office today is because of how his family's been compromised by the CCP. I think it's a huge concern, and I think it's something that has to be monitored. If I'm Taiwan, I'm not only worried about China, I'm worried about America following through on the word that we've given to them.
Yes. I'm glad to hear you say that. You know, the IRS now is tracking, or at least threatening to track, transactions of Americans of $600 or more. That is outrageous. That's why they're hiring more IRS agents. This sounds like something that we would have read in a Nutcase magazine 20 years ago, and it's happening now.
Well, I think if you look at COVID, you look at the DOJ, you look at the IRS, a lot of this is just a test market to see how many liberties Americans are willing to walk away from or surrender. I think some of these leftists were surprised how much we were willing to surrender during the coronavirus. But these things, in the words of James Clyburn, the whip for the Democratic Party, never let a crisis go to waste. They are constantly measuring the resolve and the stamina of the American people to see how much they're willing to surrender. I've been traveling this state over 51,000 miles this year in running for the U.S. Senate. One of the things that gives me hope, John, and encourages me is how many people just a year or two ago, they weren't engaged in the political process, but they've realized there's too much at stake. People that just wanted to raise their families, but I'm seeing more and more people engaged because they're just sick and tired of the encroachment of the federal government, and I think it's the only way that we're going to win back is to be able to push back with some force. Well, that certainly is the case here. People are just tired of it, and they're rising up. Last thing I want to talk to you about, and then I want to give you a minute to just say anything you'd like. The man who sits in the seat where our president is supposed to sit, Joe Biden, rambles like he's just got no ability at all to finish a sentence or carry a thought to fruition. I just wonder when it's enough. When it's enough to say this guy's just not capable. But if you could comment on that, but I'd much rather you finish up with whatever you would like to. I'll do both. Yes, the plan was that President Biden would be in office 18 months to 2 years, and things turned over to Kamala Harris where she could run as the incumbent. The problem is they've realized that she's such a train wreck, they don't know what to do at this point. As far as this, when we're running for the U.S. Senate, we're running on our record, but I want to let people know that we're the people's choice candidate. We're grassroots. My opponents, and I'll say a quick word, they're both decent people. But when somebody like Mr. Ted Budd, when you've got $10 million of D.C. Super PAC money that's financing your campaign, I've seen this happen. Once you give your voting card to these folks, they don't give it back. Pat, this is the 4th time he's running statewide. He's only won once. Chuck Schumer would love that option as well. This is evil. This is not just a game anymore, folks. This is not. We're trying to solve a spiritual issue with a political solution, and this is far above beyond just your normal politics. You have to have fighter. You have to have somebody that's a person of faith. We've had support and contributions from 95 of the 100 counties. We're running on no DC Super PAC money, and I think we're going to be able to resolve that and make a difference for the people of North Carolina. All right. Well, thank you, former Congressman Mark Walker, and come over to the marketplace and talk to him in person, folks. Thank you.
All right, so it goes for this Wednesday. Have yourself a great, safe day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow for a Thumping Thursday. Until then, be sure to support all the mom and pop businesses you hear on WEEB. They're the backbone of our economy here. When you support them, your money stays here and creates more jobs when it rolls over. And be sure to tell them WEEB asked you to come. That will help us. Also, don't forget millions of Americans have fought and they have died to give and protect the freedoms you get to enjoy today. Live today worthy of their and their family's sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams and the LeaderMan, and Nick and Colt the dog will all see you at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the dog park.
politely disagreeing with their local government. He was indignant as he asked the Deputy Attorney General about the existence of school board threats and intimidation, which is frankly kind of astounding when the reality of what's happening on the ground is undeniable.
Is waiting to express one's view at a school board meeting harassment and intimidation?
We know who you are. We know who you are. You can leave freely, but we will find you, and we know who you are. We know who you are.
Harassment and intimidation? What did those terms mean in the context of a local school?